Appreciate it. Thank you.
How are you guys coping with that now?
We're doing good. At first it was kind of a shock, but kids are just doing homeschool. They're getting adjusted, doing their Zoom calls every day for school and stuff like that. So I think we're slowly getting adjusted to it. But everyone wants to get back outside and and do lots of things. And get back to normal life.
By the way, that background looks lit. I like that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So my first question to you is, when did you get interested in playing basketball, and who is your biggest influence in that?
I was interested, or I just played really with my brother and my dad. We always played in the front yard, and I got introduced to basketball by my parents. They were both basketball players. I had a family full of basketball players, and we just played basketball just to stay out of trouble, and just something fun to do.
Hmm. So take me back to your high school experience. What did you learn over there with your teammates, your coaching staff, and what advice did they tell you in high school to become a better basketball player?
It was really just kind of just working hard. Coming into high school, I had a lot of hype going into high school. But my freshman year, I didn't play. I was injured my whole freshman year. Maybe played like 2 or 3 games, and I tore my hamstring, so I didn't play anymore. So I just kind of used that as motivation as the next year to come back and be even better and play a full season. And I think that's what I did. We won the state championship my sophomore year and my senior year, and lost it my junior year in the championship game. But I think high school was just a learning experience, learning about basketball, learning about my teammates, learning about myself, and just kind of just being trying to be the best player I could be.
Yeah. So before we get to your college career, what's it like being from Las Vegas, Nevada, and now you guys have a football team there? So what's it like?
Mhm.
Obviously, Las Vegas is always hyped, and obviously during this tough situation, it changed a lot. But over the years, what's it been like this being from that city?
I mean, everyone always asks me that what's it like being from Vegas, but I just say it's like being from anywhere else. We just got casinos, we got all the other stuff that can get you in trouble, gambling, but it's always some fun to do in Vegas, and people come here and to party and wild out, which is cool. But I think for the people that live here, we see it so much and do it so often that it's kind of like second nature to us, and we're trying to get away from all that and just relax and just be normal, regular. And I feel like people think we live in casinos and things of that nature, and but Vegas actually has good parts of it, and houses and things of that nature, suburbs and stuff like that. So I think it's cool.
Yeah. So how many offers? So going after your high school career, how many offers did you get from after high school, and what made you led to choose Tennessee?
Well, I think I had pretty every school on the West Coast kind of recruited me, but my dream school was to go to UCLA, and I took a unofficial visit there, and I was gonna actually go there, but the coach got fired, Steve Lavin. So it was just a thing that was my dream school. That's where I wanted to go, but Tennessee was also recruiting me, and my family's from Tennessee. So, and once I took a visit there, it was kind of just a no brainer. They were gonna give me the ball as soon as I stepped on campus, let me learn and make mistakes playing as a freshman and playing a lot of minutes. And that's kind of where I wanted to be. It was close to my family. My family's only 2.5 hours away, so it was cool for them to come see me play. If I needed a home cooked meal, they were always not too far away.
Hmm. So, what was your experience playing in Tennessee? Obviously, Tennessee is one of the top teams in the country too, and they're really they have young talent now. And when you were playing back in your day, what was it like playing for Tennessee and playing against high caliber competition and getting that experience?
It was fun. I was playing against guys who were way bigger than me. I feel like I was always the smallest guy on the court. But it was definitely a learning experience, learning to play a point guard position because I mostly in high school I played mostly shooting guard and a little bit of point. But I just had to learn how to not be the focal point anymore. Give my other guys, other scorers, the ball. How to lead a team, how to be a leader, how to communicate with my teammates and be more vocal, more vocal. So I think that's the biggest thing that I learned.
Yeah. So now, obviously, you went undrafted. Take me back to your draft experience. Were you mad that you didn't get drafted? And obviously, being undrafted is kind of some like horrible sometimes for players. But in your aspect, what did you take it as? Like a motivational tip thing?
Yeah, I was super pissed. I didn't get drafted because I felt I was good enough to be one of those 65 or however many draft spots there is. I felt like I should have been one of those players. And actually, my agent called me on draft night and said Detroit's going to draft you with the last pick, but they never did. So I just kind of used it as motivation. I was definitely disappointed, and just took that and went overseas and tried to make the best of it, and kind of just played with a chip on my shoulder. and I think that just kind of helped me propel myself back to the league and getting to where I wanted to be, which is the NBA.
Yeah. So what was that like? Obviously, most players now don't go overseas before; they just go sign with the G League or whatever
Mhm.
to get better. But for you, what was that like getting the overseas experience first? And obviously, they play a different style of basketball. What did you learn over there? And did you learn any languages there too in the meantime?
Yeah, so my choice when I wanted to decide to either stay here and play in the D League at the time or go overseas, it was really all about the money because I was broke. I didn't have any money. I didn't come from money, so
Mm.
the first thing I saw was six figures. So I just ran and jumped to that. But I think the overseas style of basketball was definitely different. I think I learned how to, like I said, be more of a point guard also there, then also learn how to kind of run a team because all my teammates were all older than me. They all played overseas like 4 or 5 years, or played in the NBA before, and then transitioned to overseas. And just being in a different country, learning a new culture. I didn't speak any Italian, but I learned a few words here and there just because I was always around it, and I had to adjust to the different situation I was in. I had to go to grocery stores and learn how to order pizza or milk and count money in their language and stuff like that. So it was definitely fun for me and a great experience.
Yeah, so obviously when after you came back here, you went right to the D League, the Grand Rap Vipers. It's called the team Vipers. So,
Yeah.
what was that like D League experience, and what did you learn from there?
I learned just how to be a professional. Just try to go in every day, go to work. Go and get your weights in. Go to practice, even before or after practice, getting shots up. So I just learned how to be a professional basketball player. And then really it's just kind of all about just giving myself one more last chance before kind of not necessarily giving up on my dream, but just saying just going another route. Because I said I'm not going to go back overseas, so let's just try this D League thing out and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll move on to something else. But eventually it worked, and played a pretty good month and a half, and then after that it's just going to the NBA and trying to sustain it, and then establish myself as an NBA player.
Yeah, so take me back to that phone call or the first message they gave the Golden State Warriors gave you, and how grateful are you that the Warriors gave you that first opportunity to start your NBA career? Obviously, the Warriors
uh,
are storied franchise.
it was cool. So it's a crazy story. My agent was calling me like all the time during that first month, saying this team is interested. They're going to be watching it the next game. Blah blah blah. And I was just getting tired of the same. This team is interested, but they're not going to make any moves yet. But so I just told them don't call me until it's for sure someone wants to call me up. And I didn't talk to them for like 2 or 3 weeks. And granted, actually, it was two teams who were going to call me up: the Bobcats or the Golden State Warriors. And the Warriors pulled the plug faster, and they called me up, and definitely grateful. And I think that kind of their style of play, Coach Nelson and the Warriors up tempo style, that kind of was my type of play, and I'm glad they called me up instead of the Bobcats.
Yeah, I just want to bring that up because I when I looked on Google, I saw a picture of you in a Bobcat jersey. It was like, who put that?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's crazy. But
Yeah, well, that was actually for training camp. I got cut from training
oh,
camp on the last day. That was right before I went to overseas or whatever.
yeah. So what was playing for Golden State Warriors like? And obviously the old school jerseys, and now they have the Oracle Arena now. But they all obviously. Did you get to play with Jason Richardson throughout your career there in Golden State?
No, I didn't. I played with him actually with the Bobcats a little bit in training camp and stuff, but I never played with him at Gold State.
So what was it like playing for Golden State Warriors, and what did you learn from there?
I just learned how to be an offensive juggernaut because that's what really all Coach Nelson really cared about was offense. He would take you off if you didn't shoot the ball if you weren't aggressive. So I just learned a lot of things, how to use my body, how to finish at the rim. That's what he was big on. That's what he wanted me to work on was finishing at the rim, and just really working on my 3-point shooting.
What was it like playing underneath the coach like Donnie Nelson?
It was fun, man. It was always fun at all times. He was always relaxed. He always had the locker room kind of low key and just really easygoing. He never really put any pressure on us. Only pressure was just to win games. And at the end of the day, he would say, if you didn't win a game, it's on you. So you gotta do your job. And I think everyone had that same mentality, going out there being aggressive. And we had a team full of veteran players and a mix of young players. And I think that kind of helped all the young players grow.
Yeah, so I that Golden State lets players score the ball, and for you, what was your most high scoring game in Golden State when you were
I
playing?
think it was 40 points. I had a 40-point game and a couple 35-point games. So it was definitely offensive team.
So what's it like seeing the Warriors now being successful still? Obviously, that they had a down year last year with all the injuries, but they're going to be back
Hmm.
next year.
Yeah.
What is Steph Curry to obviously the best point guard in the league? But what do you see in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and this team right now?
I think they're great, man. They're winning championships. They're one of the best teams in the league every year. And I think Steph's changed the game. He's changed the game with his 3-point shooting. Him and Clay, and I think all the other players kind of just complement them. And I think they're going to be back at the top of the Western Conference again next year and trying to compete for a championship.
Yeah. So now moving towards into your career, you signed with the Chicago Bulls, and obviously it's a business. Was it tough leaving Golden State, and what other teams were interested in you, and what made you like to choose Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, it was tough leaving Golden State because they're the first team that gave him an opportunity. But like you said, it's a business, and we couldn't agree on a mutual contract. So I just had to go somewhere else where I felt like I was more wanted, and they were giving me what I wanted actually, and what I deserved. I thought, and what my worth was. But I think the team with the Bulls is it was just great because no one came in with any expectations. We weren't even scheduled to make the playoffs like through voting or anything like that, and we came in and surprised a lot of people. I think. Everyone knew who the star player was, D Rose, and we all just kind of just fell in line after that. And there's no egos, there was nothing. We all just wanted to go out there and win and have fun.
Hmm. So what was it like playing for another storied franchise and wearing the same jersey as Michael Jordan?
It was cool. It was like there's definitely a lot of pressure because every time you're associated with the Bulls, only thing they think about is Jordan and winning championships. So every year, you always want to compete in for those championships. And I think it's fun just to have that pressure on your back, but also fun just to go out there and play and just be competitive.
Yeah, so obviously you got to play with the best point guard in the league, Derrick Rose, and he's still playing at a high
Mhm.
level. So
Yeah.
what did you learn from him, and what advice did he give you?
We're both two quiet guys. Actually, I think he's more quiet than I am. But we always supported one another. Always pushed each other in practice because we always had to play one on one and things of that nature. So we were always going at each other. But when game time came, we know that I knew I wasn't going to see another point guard like Derrick Rose in the league. And if I can kind of handle him, which some days I maybe did, and some days I really didn't. I know I'll be fine going against any other starting point guard in the league.
Is that why your Instagram and Twitter handle is called Quiet Storm 32?
Yeah, it's a nickname my sister gave me when I was in high school.
So after Chicago Bulls, obviously, you went to the Brooklyn Nets, and this is when they had the transition from New Jersey to Brooklyn. And let me ask you this: was your eye set on Brooklyn all the time, or do you have any other offers before Brooklyn?
No, I think I wanted to stay in Chicago. I mean, I had a 3-year deal, but I wanted to stay in Chicago. But they released like me and Kyle Korver, Ronnie Brewer, a lot of the bench players. So you just gotta go where you're wanted and where it's a good fit. And I think Brooklyn was a good fit for me. I was playing behind another all-star point guard, and I think my game just kind of fit the style of play that Brooklyn wanted to play, and I think it was a great fit.
Yeah, obviously. What was it like seeing the new arena in Brooklyn and getting that chance to be in there in the first year with D. Will, Joe Johnson? And
Mhm.
the rest of the team were talented, like Jared Wallace, Brooke Lopez,
Yeah,
even. So, what was it
yeah.
like to experience the first year in the new stadium?
It was cool, man. It was a lot of hype. It was a lot of a great atmosphere, especially with Jay Z owning the team and having Jay Z courtside with Beyonce and his crew all the time. It was definitely fun. But yeah, like I said, it was a lot of hype there. The new arena was crazy, and I know now with KD and Kyrie, it's going to be even more of a greater atmosphere in Brooklyn, and they're going to compete for championships.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny thing. Actually, I'm a New York Knicks fan, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
I actually watch more Nets games. But so the year when you guys moved to Brooklyn, I watched more Nets game than Knicks game because I can't watch the Knicks sometimes the way they play. So
Yeah, they've been not the greatest fans the last well 5 years or whatever.
yeah, but I gotta ask you this. Obviously, it didn't. You guys, the first half of the season didn't work out well, and then Avery Johnson got fired. Do you know the problem? What was the problem there? And then PJ Carlissimo took over.
No, I don't know what the problem was. It was all a shock to us players because he recently literally just got coach of the month, and the next thing you know, he got fired. So I mean, I don't think there was an issue because I don't know any coach of the month that gets fired the next week or whatever, but I think we just, like I said, it's a business. Basketball is a business, and you take it for what it's worth, and you still got to go out there and do your job. And PJ moved in, and we all played great for him. We just couldn't get past that first round.
Yeah, so they had obviously Brooklyn Nets had you play alongside D. Will at some most point at some point. So what was it like playing with D. Will and Joe Johnson, and what advice did D. Will give you throughout?
It was cool. I mean, playing with D Will is just kind of like playing with D Rose. They're both two dynamic point guards, and they demand a lot of attention. So you get a lot of wide open shots, which is good for me. And especially with Joe Johnson on the team, you get even more open shots because they're going to double and triple team him all the time. And just playing with those two guys, all star caliber players, future Hall of Famers, I think it was just fun just playing with them and be able to share the court with them.
Hmm. So, and then also after your Brooklyn Nets career, you played with the Pacers, another a great franchise to play with, and they're always competing in a high level. What was that like playing for the Pacers? And obviously Victor Oladipo, oh, he wasn't there at that time, but um,
No.
what was it like playing for the Pacers?
It was cool having Larry there. He was I think, the president of basketball at the time. So having Larry there, like a big name Hall of Famer in basketball like himself, he would always be at practices talking trash sometimes, and it'd just be fun. Just getting so nervous around that caliber of a player, just making sure you're playing up to his standards and playing how he wants you to play the game of basketball. So it was fun playing for that franchise. Like I said, I don't have any bad things to say about any franchise. I'm definitely grateful for all the opportunities I have for every team.
So obviously, they're known for defense, and is that when you starting when you transition from a scorer to a defensive player at that time in Indiana?
I don't think so. I think I always was playing defense. I just, it wasn't really, I didn't really something that I never really had to do. I think, like I said, once you have a team full of great scorers and players who can do a multitude of things, especially for myself, coming off the bench, you kind of take not a backseat, but you kind of do other things and try to get yourself on the score sheet. And that's what I did. Try to get steals, try to turn those steals into points. And then when those guys got double like PG or D West or whatever, I just got to make my open shots and do what I do best. And I think that's what made me great at every stop. I can do a little bit of everything. I wasn't just only a scorer.
Yeah, obviously you played with Paul George and David West, and they obviously great players. And do you know why what went wrong with Paul George in this postseason in the bubble with the Clippers? Or
No, I don't know. I mean, I have no clue. I haven't really talked to him. Maybe it's just being in the bubble and being away from family or friends and stuff like that.
right.
Having that comfortability of playing at home or maybe traveling. Traveling wasn't like it was in a normal situation. So I'm not sure exactly what it was. I'm sure he'll figure it out. He's a great player. He'll figure it out and come back next season. I'm sure with the vengeance on his shoulder and try to make up for it.
Obviously, so what was it like just playing alongside him and obviously David West, and you have two premier all stars where you can pass and whoever's double teaming one, you have the one open. So what was it like just to have those two players on the floor, like on the same floor?
It was cool. Like I said, it's better for me because I would get more open shots because you only can double so many people on the court. So playing with those high caliber guys, I just try to come in and make sure those guys get going early. And once they do, they're not selfish players. They'll pass the ball when they get double team or triple team, and that's when I got to do my job and knock down the open shots or create a shot for myself or someone else.
So now, after the Pacers career, you went to the Orlando Magic. That's another up and coming team, and they were in the playoffs too. So what was it like playing for Orlando in front of those fans? Also,
It was fun. I think that was like the last 2 years of my career. They weren't the greatest years, I would have to say, but it was definitely fun just to go out and experience that situation. I thought they were an up and coming team. We had our ups and downs throughout the seasons, just as any young team would. But I think like a young Victor Oladipo, he started to learn his way and start to be a scorer and a main guy on the team. You had Alfred Payton. He was coming into his own, getting triple doubles like every other game. So I think we're just a young team. We're kind of getting to the where we wanted to play, and another great player in Vooch, who is a monster down low and outside too. So I think it's just a young team that didn't really have the everything that we needed to win games and to make a playoff run.
hmm. So how grateful are you throughout your career? You got to play with all kinds of different teams, and obviously they're all story franchise, and you played with great players. And how grateful are you in to be able to have that in your career, to play with a great
Uh,
yeah.
Definitely grateful. Like I said, every stop was fun. I played with at least two or three Hall of Famers on each team, and if not, two or three All Stars are great players in my book. Some of my favorite teammates probably will never be a Hall of Famer, but they're just great people, and I think that's more of the game of basketball is just kind of making those friendships, making those relationships, and just having those memories that no one can take away from you.
So you ready for this Q&A segment?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna start with this familiar face you should know, Daniel Artest. You guys go way back in high school, he said. So
Yeah, yeah. My
yeah,
man Danny.
I've been doing work with him too, and he obviously the brother of Metal P. So this
Right.
he sent you a long question, so bear with me. He said,
All right.
so since we go way back in high school at Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, I remember when you used to come to our college workouts as a sophomore and really take it to our guards. You also led the state of Nevada in scoring. So when I was watching you play, I was telling myself you was going to be a scorer in the NBA because you had it all. Getting to the rim, mid range, the three. You were great off the catch, off the dribble. I was always wanted to know what made you decide to switch it up and play that floor general role that led you to a long and successful career in the NBA. Was it you? Was it a coach or things? And he said, "Thanks for answering."
I think it was just a little bit of all the above. Myself, kind of knowing my responsibilities on the floor and knowing like in high school, I'm 6'2". I'm one of the bigger or taller players, but as get into college and to NBA, you have like 6'8", 6'9", 7-footers who do the same thing as you. So you kind of not relegate, but not delegate, but kind of just play your role. And I feel like being a role player was a better for me. I wasn't going to be a franchise player at 6'2". So I just still work on my game, work on every aspect of my game. But I think being a role player was more of my speed instead of being a franchise player because that wasn't in my cards. I feel like.
So have you been on his podcast before?
Danny's no, not yet. I haven't.
All right, I'm gonna send you his page so you can check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one's for me actually. So while growing up, who did you look up to as a point guard? Because I had on Isaiah Thomas on my show. I had Speedy Klassen on my show. I had Bobby Jackson on my show. So who did you look up
Yeah.
to while growing up?
I'm looked up to like all the kind of big time point guards in the NBA when I was growing up, like Jason Terry. I feel like my game was kind of pattern after his. He was the same height, same build or whatever, and he did pretty much everything. Could catch and shoot. He can one dribble, pull up, 3-pointer. Then pretty much just every other point guard: Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, John Stockton. Just any point guard that did was a floor general, that was a scorer, that played defense. It did a little bit of everything, and I felt like that's what my game was—a little bit of everything. I didn't do just one thing great. I did a little mixture of everything.
So this one is from Angel Reyes. He's an up and coming basketball player. Actually, he's the first Mexican from New York as a basketball player.
Okay.
He wants to know how do you become an All American? What advice can you give him as a player? What are some tips to keeping the game simple and controlling the game? And what should I do as a sophomore college point guard?
I would say just stay in the gym, live, breathe, eat basketball, work on your game, and then also study the game, study other players, study other NBA players, whatever level you think you can play at, or wherever you're trying to go. Study successful players on that level, and just pattern your game and stuff after them, and try to be better.
Do you have any advice for him as a how to become an All American?
How to become an All-American? Just work hard. You got to score a lot of points. Your team has to win. You got to be a good teammate, a great leader. I think all those things will come to you, if you're doing all the right things.
All right, this is from my friend Jordan. He does a podcast also, so I'll send you his page. You can check it out. Obviously, after being an NBA player, you transition to being an author. You have a book out there. So before
Mhm.
we get to this question, explain to everyone how did this book come about and where can they find it?
It was really just an idea I had. Just retired from the NBA, and I wanted to see what can I do to inspire kids and tell my story. And I wasn't playing the NBA at the time, so I thought about kids wanting to read books, and kids like to read books. So why not put my stories in books? And that's how the idea came about. And I have 3 books out so far: CJ's Big Dream, CJ's Big Project, and CJ's Big Moment. And you can pick those books up at cjpens.com.
Hmm. So Jordan wants to know what inspired you to transition from NBA life to aspiring author.
I just wanted to be an inspiration. I wanted to continue to inspire kids, kind of give them little gems that I learned along the way through life that may help them out at an early age. I know I had a lot of older family members and friends that used to tell me stuff, and sometimes I didn't listen, and sometimes I did. But all those knowledge and those gems that they gave me kind of stick with me throughout life.
He also wants to know what were some of the biggest challenges you've had to face becoming an author.
Just trying to get the book out there, try to publicize it, and then really just coming up with the story that I think people will like, that kids will understand, and be able any kid will be able to relate to, regardless of race or gender or whatever.
All right. This one you should definitely check out. His name is Global Kid Media. He's 14 years old. He's trying to be the first sideline kid reporter. He's interviewed over 1,000 people. He actually had JJ Redick on his show when he was at the Bubble.
Okay.
So
Okay.
his question for you is, all right, let me scroll up. Okay, he wants to know, he's interviewed 1,000 interviews, so star interviews and shows here. Is a 14-year-old kid who has done the experience, and isn't it time for? He wants to know, is it a time for kids to be sideline reporter?
Is it a time for kids to be a silent reporter?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean silent reporter?
Oh, what do you think of the idea of having kids as sideline reporters now? Like,
Sideline reporter. Okay. No, I think it's cool. I think kids should start at an early age. Whatever kids want to believe in and they think they can do, I think they have the right to do that. I mean, um, like I said, I don't have anything against it. I think it's cool for the sport and for other kids to see. I think once you see one kid doing it, a lot of kids maybe have the thought of doing it, but just never kind of jump on it until they see someone else do it. So I think it's great.
yeah. So I'll send you his page so you can check it out. And he said he would like to have you on his show too. So.
Okay, cool.
So this one is from BS3 Radio. This is another podcast and a radio station that I've been. This is awesome. So he wants to know, what was your favorite NBA team you played for, and what was your biggest challenge in becoming a pro player, and what was it like playing in Turkey, and what are you doing now?
My favorite NBA team would probably be the Bulls because we had the best record for 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And just it was my favorite color, red. So yeah, we were pretty good. So that was my favorite team. I think what was other questions?
Oh, he said he wants. What was your biggest challenge in becoming a pro player?
Biggest challenge was, I think, just getting in the door, making people believe that I was an NBA player, and just having the confidence and belief in myself that I could do it. And then also just kind of believing in myself and being resilient, even when people told me I wasn't good enough to be an NBA player, or that I wouldn't make it. Just having the belief in myself to continue to push down that door and to keep shooting for my dream.
And he wants to know, what was it like playing in Turkey?
It was cool. I like Turkey. I was in a small city. It wasn't as Americanized as like Istanbul or whatever, but I definitely had a good time. Met some cool new teammates. Enjoyed the city and walked around and appreciated the culture a little more than I did before my first time overseas.
And this one's from another podcast I'm going to send you later on. He wants to know, how difficult was it being traded from teams to teams, but did you prefer to stay with one team?
I would prefer to stay with one team, but I really never got traded. It was honestly all my choice every time. So it was kind of like a gift and a curse. But yeah, if I could have picked one team to stay with, I would have did that my whole career.
Yeah. So, and this one's from Damian Adams, and he does a podcast also called The Real Deal. He said he wants to know, who was the best coach you played for? What's the main differences between a successful coach and a not so successful coach?
My favorite coach I played for would probably be either Tim Thibodeau or Don Nelson. And I think the difference between a successful coach and one that's not is really just wins and losses at the end of the day, and then how they can really lead a team and pick a team up when they're struggling, and continue to motivate them in good times and in bad. So and getting guys to play together. I think that's a big thing of controlling the locker room. You have so many egos to control, so how can you control a locker room without stepping on anyone's toes or making another player mad, and really holding everyone accountable? So I think that's the big thing.
Speaking of coaching, I got to bring this up. So I'm like I said, I'm a New York Knicks fan, and what was your reaction when Tom Thibodeau got the job, and do you think he can turn around the Knicks right away?
I mean, I figured he would get the job because he has a lot of Nick ties there, and he's one of the hottest coaches. I feel like that doesn't have a job so far. I think his grit, his grind will hopefully turn the Knicks around. I know he's gonna demand that from his team and his players, and I think the city's gonna demand that number one from him. But I think he's gonna if anyone can do it, he can turn it around.
Hmm. So I got to get to the Brooklyn Nets too. Obviously, they're doing some interesting things this off season. Obviously, they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant coming back, and also Steve Nash as a first-time head coach, and Amari Stoudemire as assistant coach. What do you think? What are your reactions to the Nets? What do they do? What do you think they're trying to do here?
I think they're trying to build a championship team. I mean, what better um players or can you find that's going to listen to coaches that have played the game, that have the experience, that are also great players? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I would want to play for someone who played this game and was successful at it. So, I think that's the number one thing, and I think that's what they're building, and I think it's going to work out. I would like to see more players, in coaches, in coaching spots, and GM spots because they know they can recognize talent, they can see talent, and they have the experience of this game.
Oh, also the kid I just mentioned to you before, Global Kid Media, he wants to know what's your schedule like, and they said they're available in November sometime next week if you want to come on their show next week.
Okay, yeah, we can figure out. Just tell me to shoot me a DM or whatever. I'll try to look at it.
All right. Yeah, so here's my $1 million question here. Are you trying to make a comeback to the NBA?
Am I trying to make a comeback? No, I think my time is done. But if they called me, I would, I'd definitely think about it. But yeah, I'd rather like be a GM or something like that, or maybe like a coach or something. But just to give knowledge that I learned from the game of basketball and just give it back to other players. But yeah, as far as playing basketball, I don't think I want to play anymore. I gave the game all I had. I don't want to wake up feeling beat up and bruised all the time. So I like feeling I like waking up and walking out without pain and stuff.
Would you consider being a coach in the future in the NBA?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. If the right situation came across, definitely think about it.
Hmm. So what do you think of your former team, the Pacers, and they actually hired a new coach in the Toronto assistant. But what do you think of how they can become better next year?
I think that's probably one of the stepping stones. I think kind of Nate McMillan got the short end of the stick. I didn't think he deserved to get fired because he can't. He had like a depleted roster kind of. Two of his star players didn't weren't able to play. But I think they're gonna do great things. I mean, as long as they got a coach in mind that they want, I think it's gonna help them. And once they figure out what the situation with Vic Oladipo, I think they'll be fine.
So I do this quick. I do this other segment called the rapid fire segment with all my guests that come on the show. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite food.
Favorite food? Anything pasta.
Favorite memorable game that you played at Tennessee in the NBA.
At Tennessee and in the NBA.
Yeah.
Winning in Rupp Arena in my senior year, or my junior and senior year, and then the NBA, my 40-point game.
Hmm. Also, so obviously you retired now and you're doing the book, but outside of doing the book, what else do you like to do?
I like to do some investing, investor. I have a foundation that we help young kids in the city of Las Vegas, and I also own some healthy vending machines. So I'm just trying to keep people to eat healthy and be better.
What advice would you give these young kids or that are trying to reach their goals?
Just always shoot for your goals. Never let anyone tell you you can't do anything, and you got to always put the work in to be where you want to get to. It's not easy. It's going to be some ups and down, some bruises in the road, but you got just be resilient, stay strong, and stay focused on the path.
Have you been on any other podcast recently before this one?
Yeah, I've done a lot, but I don't. The last one maybe was like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Hmm. Would you consider? Have you considered starting your own podcast during this tough time, just to talk about your career journey, and having on other NBA players, like current NBA players or former NBA players, on your show? Have you considered that?
Yeah, I thought about it, and I thought about having a podcast, but it wouldn't just be like a normal athlete podcast. I think I would have politicians on there. I would have councilmen, entrepreneurs, lawyers, just a broad arena of everything because I know a little bit of everyone. So it wouldn't just be athletes, but I thought about it. I just feel like it's too much work, and I don't want to do all that.
So I want to get to an important topic here that everyone should be talking about: social injustice. And for you, being a former player, what's it like seeing all these players coming together and trying to come up with ways to solve this issue? And obviously, in the WNBA, Renee Montgomery, Maya Moore. Actually, I had the opportunity to interview Renee Montgomery on my show back in May, and she's such an inspiration. So, what's it like seeing seeing them trying to come up with ways to make this better?
I think it's great. I think it's what's needed right now at this time. I think it's been needed for years and years back. So I think people are just getting fed up right now with things that are happening, and I think it's best that athletes have this platform that they can speak out on freely. And I think this is a great way for them to start the conversation. And I think the conversation should have been started a long time ago. So I think this is great what they're doing. Hopefully, everyone keeps it up, and change does come from these conversations, and things begin to happen, and the world kind of changes also with it.
Yeah. So obviously, what are your overall thoughts on this bubble? And if you were still playing, what would you do in this situation? Opt out, or would you been still playing in the bubble?
It just depends. I mean, at the time, I just had another daughter, so I'm not sure if I wouldn't played or not. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. What would I have done? But at the time, I mean, I don't really have to go, so my hand wasn't forced to make a decision, so can't really say what I would have did or what I wouldn't do. So I think I just respect everyone's opinion or everyone's choice for playing, and for those who didn't play. So I'm sure they had a great reason not to. So at the end of the day, I support all the NBA players and who did play, and anything NBA, I'm all for it.
So I'm gonna go back to one of my other friends' questions, Jordan. Again, he said, are there any takeaways you had from playing in the NBA that helped you in your author career?
Just to always be strong, be resilient, and uh, like things aren't going to be easy during the process. And like I said before, just kind of just sticking with it and seeing that overall goal at the end. And I think having the books, I was really unsure of how it would turn out, but all the illustrations turned out perfect. The story turned out perfect, and I think I've gotten good responses from the book so far. So I think everyone's liking them.
So, and what's in the future for CJ's Big Dream series?
I have one more coming out, maybe in November, December area. Just working on it now, just trying to figure out the storyline, the theme, and illustrations, all that kind of stuff. So just be on the lookout for that one, and that's really about it for now.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Obviously, there's some debate going on between LeBron and Michael since LeBron won his championship, his fourth. Do you think LeBron needs two more championships to be on Michael's level, or do you think LeBron's already there?
I think they're both great players, man. At the end of the day, we're all going to have our opinions on who's the best and who's the greatest, and these opinions will never stop, from years and years when we're not even here. So I think we just got to appreciate both players for what they are and what they were. But like I said, I mean, I feel like this. I mean, Jordan's obviously best in my view, and then like there's Kareem, there's Shaq, there's Kobe, and like, I feel like everyone just throws Kobe out of those talks when he's
Yeah.
still one of the greatest players ever. But I think we got to appreciate everyone for what they do because everyone does a little bit different. I mean, obviously, people want LeBron to score more and do all this other stuff like Jordan did. And they always compare him to Jordan because obviously that's like the stepping stool. And but I think we just got to appreciate everyone for what they do, and because soon LeBron's not going to be here, and then what are we going to say? So I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't care. I just like watching good basketball.
So do you think do you think obviously this LeBron Michael Jordan situation, but do you think these debate or like do you know a reason why they do these debates and some people they go overboard with these debates? Do you know the reason why between players?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all whether it's players or people on TV, they're picking sides. It's all entertainment. They got to sell TV, TV sales and views and all that kind of stuff. So people, especially like Skip Bayless, like he hates LeBron. I don't know why, but like I said, it's always a thing for TV sales. Like it's either one guy's gonna like LeBron and the other guy's not. So they have to have something to argue about. If both guys like LeBron, there wouldn't be nothing to argue about. So at the end of the day, it's just I think it's pointless. But like I said, we just gotta appreciate everyone for what they are and what they do.
We might have to get you on the Undisputed show, man. You got to go call.
I know, man. Make it happen. I'll get on there.
You got to call us. Do you still keep in touch with your former players that you played with in your career?
Some of them, not all of them. Yeah, but not all of them. But like I said, basketball is fun for the relationships and for all the places that I got to travel for free and places I got to see, and definitely grateful for it all.
So the last few things here before I let you go, this is a question I've been bringing up to all my guests. Obviously, the late Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, mama mentality. Obviously, you have daughters too. You're a girl dad, and do you remember where you guys were at that day, and what did they mean to you? And obviously, you competed against him. And did you ever have to guard against him too?
Yeah, I definitely had to guard Kobe early in my career because when Don Nelson kind of had to guard a little bit of everyone. But definitely, it was definitely sad news. I thought it was a joke when someone texted me that. So it's definitely shocking to see and to hear all that kind of stuff. And I was just at home on a Sunday, and hearing about the helicopter crashing is just something that I'll probably never forget where I was at that exact time.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers?
I just appreciate you guys for all of you done, women and men. They're definitely the backbone to this country for putting up with all this stuff and working day in day out with this deadly virus going around. So definitely kudos to you guys and thank you for all your support.
So there it is, episode 577. CJ Watson, former NBA player, had a fantastic career, overseas career too. Now he's an author. If you don't mind, tell everyone where you can find the book again.
You can go to cjpens.com, cjpens.com.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you again. This has been an honor. And I'll be posting this on all social media formats so people see this and continue success. Hopefully we see you as a coach someday in the NBA. But if not, then keep grinding, keep working hard, and you and your family stay safe.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You too.
No problem. Thank you.